Okay, today's video, we're going to cover what optimizing for voice search or voice searches on Google Ads, or as should I say, as opposed to doing it for Google organic searches is pretty much pointless. I'm going to explain why it's pointless to try to optimize your Google ad campaigns for voice searches, even though voice searches are getting to be a higher and higher percentage of the total searches on Google on a regular basis, mainly due to, more older people that can't type very fast, boomers and such. Not all, but of course quite a bit are getting to use the voice search more and more. And specifically with that, what you can spend more of your time on other than trying to optimize for that voice search, trying to get more voice searches on the organic side of things, which you absolutely can do if you just apply the strategy that I'm going to give you on this video. So I am actually going to, even though this is a PPC channel here, talk about organic keyword optimization and like basically SEO for voice searches, but also cover it from the Google Ads and paid side of things, so you understand from both angles what it's about. So if you found this video as you were planning to try to optimize your Google ad campaigns for voice search or organic, you actually found the perfect video to watch. Have everything you need to know all in one spot with all the bullshit cut out. Okay, getting into the content here. There is a lot of buzz around voice search and optimizing around voice search. I see more and more articles about this all the time, which prompted me to make this video to give you the real deal on this, and the actual bullshit side of this is actually cut out that other people just simply aren't talking about, and it irritated me to see that they're not talking about it. So there's a lot of people talking about it. Obviously, they wouldn't be making articles if a lot of people weren't searching for it. People think and know that more people are searching verbally, on their phones, on tablets is the main thing, right? And then also with those, like the, what do they call those things? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. The home devices, like the Alexa Home, and like Google's got a Google, little disc that you can put inside your house and ask Google questions to that little box. And through the combination of people doing this through their phones and tablets and to those internet access devices for your house that sits on your table and all that, 15% of searches are now basically voice searches out of the whole, which, if you didn't know, obviously that's enough to care about. If we could care about and do something about it, if there was something we could do about it, I certainly would be doing it. But the crux of this situation is, at least for Google Ads, there really is not that much you can actually do to optimize. I mean, I'm not going to say zero, but in terms of the time and effort put in to do it, you pretty much, could be doing something else. And for that matter, you're already doing it, which is the main thing. You can't optimize for voice searches on Google Ads, specifically at least, because of something called a low search volume keyword warning that stems from this, or pops up, should I say, when you try to optimize for voice search in your Google Ads search campaigns and so forth. And Bing search campaign, if you want to throw that in. So what I mean here specifically is when people are using voice search, they're searching differently, which is why you're probably here, and the basics behind this. People don't search the same way they do on desktops, or if they're not using a voice search, they're looking for a fried chicken restaurant. On Google, they're just going to type in fried chicken restaurant. Whereas if they're going to actually verbally say it, they might say, "Where is the closest fried chicken restaurant to me?" They're going to, type sentences. And not to say people don't use sentences on Google search, but it skews certainly to much longer search phrases, i.e. phrases that they're using it with more actual words than they're using when they're not using voice search. I gave an example here of someone saying, "What's the closest 5-star restaurant near me?" Now that's a search that somebody would typically use. Where versus, 5-star restaurants in Glendale or whatever would be something that they would use if they were not using voice search. Or, five stars, basically 5-star restaurants near me. They wouldn't use the what's the part, generally speaking. This is just inherently how people search and how it's different on voice versus non-voice. So with this example that I'm giving you here, what's the closest 5-star restaurant near me? If you were to bid on this term, you realize that this is something that people search a lot, which lines up with the perfect customer that you want. If you try to bid on this keyword in your Google search campaigns or your Bing search campaigns, Google will not let you bid on this term. I mean, you could physically add that term to your search campaign. Before you waste your time going and doing all the keyword research for the voice searches and putting all these longer searches into your search campaign to try to capitalize on the 15% of voice searches that are coming up, you won't be able to specifically do it because Google is going to say, not enough people search for this, therefore we're not going to let you bid on the term. This is something that Google's had in place for other reasons for almost 10 years now. So if a keyword doesn't get regularly searched, you can put the keyword in your campaign, but right next to the keyword it'll have a warning, search volume too low. And then that means you just can't single that keyword out to bid on it. But the thing about it is, if you just target the keyword 5-star restaurant near me in my previous example, you're going to show up when someone types in what's the closest 5-star restaurant near me, if you're just running the keyword with quotes around it, which would mean phrase match, keyword match type, or probably even if you put the brackets around it, due to how liberal Google's keyword matching is with exact match keyword match types. So without even having to so-called do anything to optimize for voice search on the search campaigns that you already have, you're already optimizing for voice search because the longer searches are already going to be picked up by the shorter keywords or the other regular keywords that you have already, basically. And on top of that, Google's made a change several years ago with these responsive display ads where they're asking for a lot more information and the description and the headlines, to where they got more ammo to go on to decide when somebody searches this long thing in the voice search, by saying it, of course, that they understand which ad to show, your ad versus some of the other competition's ad, and not just have to go off the keywords by itself to decide if an ad should be shown, and if so, whose ad should show for that particular person. So, in other words, you're already optimized for voice search basically without knowing it, or at least as far as you're basically going to go with it by default without having to do anything. And with that said, what kind of pisses me off, and why I made the video like I was talking about before, is these other articles, they'll tell you to basically go into your search terms report, which if you don't know what the search terms report is, it's the report on your Google Ads account that shows you not what your keywords are, but what people are physically typing in before they find you itself, and then going in there and finding out which of these so-called search terms have the word like OK Google in front of it, because obviously if you're on a phone, without even having to hit, because on Google you could hit the mic button next to the search field or box or window. You could just say, hey, OK Google on an Android device, and then say whatever you want, and then it'll search for you. Just like you could say, OK Siri on Apple devices. But of course you can click the microphone button and then say what you want to say, and then it'll search without saying OK Google. But anyway, since a good chunk of we'll say a majority of the people that are going to do voice search are doing it on a mobile device, and then therefore they have to say OK Google before it, then at that point you would get in your search terms report a bunch of the phrases in there that you can tell are voice searches because they have OK Google in front of it, okay? And at that point, you now know supposedly how to optimized for voice search. You take all those terms, you put them in your list of keywords you're targeting, and you've optimized for voice search. But the reality is, again, these keywords where they're typing in OK Google, most of them, and I know because I've checked this before to back this up, they're going to show a low keyword search volume too low warning, and you just have wasted your time, frankly speaking. It could help some of you guys if you're running in your campaign, like in your account, if you have 10 keywords, this can help you because you're just doing basically a shitty job at advertising in the first place because you shouldn't have 10 keywords. You should go beyond that and find out all the ways people are searching for your product or service and bid on all of them, not just a few, and then with the few keywords do them on broad match so that those few keywords will get you everything, which is going to give you a bunch of everything you don't want, 80% of what you don't want with the few searches that you do want, and you're going to be paying for a bunch of waste in the process of getting the few customers you're going to get, and then probably just not make money on what you're doing, and maybe not making money just because you're not tracking your results, and of the calls you're getting, you're not paying attention to the quality of the calls and so forth. So by going into your search terms report and adding keywords that have OK Google in front of it as keyword, or adding search terms that have OK Google in front of it, adding those to your keywords could help you if you were doing a really poor job with your campaign setups in the first place, your search campaign setups in the first place. For you guys that follow decent practices and definitely follow this channel, you're not going to get any benefit because you're already going to have the keywords in there that you can use. So therefore, effectively, there's nothing more to add to it. As a quick side, I mentioned on this channel how to set up a decent search campaign to get the full value out of it. One part of that, what I recommend doing, is once you go out and you get, you go to Google Keyword Tool and use SpyFu, and you find all the keywords you can there, what you do is you end up mix and matching the terms. So, if you find, let's say you're offering lawn care services, okay? There's hundreds of ways that people search for lawn care services. And so what you should do to get the most out of your search campaign would be to, obviously find all the different ways, like I said, in Google Keyword Tool and SpyFu, what your competitors are doing, different keywords that are naturally there. And then once you've done that, because you'll find lawn care service, lawn care company, and then best lawn care company, and then best lawn care service. You take the individual words and you mix and match them together. So ultimately, if you don't find, because what you'll ultimately do in this process is you'll find best lawn care company. But what won't be there is best lawn care service in your list through finding the keywords through Google Keyword Tool and SpyFu, or SEMrush if you want to use that. I prefer SpyFu personally. But so because best lawn care service is not on your list, if you would take my advice here and go through when you have your list of keywords that you found from Google Keyword Tool and SpyFu, and you try to take the word best and put it on the front of every single word, you'll end up finding more keywords just because you used Google Keyword Tool and SpyFu as ideas, and then you went and tried to add, you found some keywords with the word best on it, and then you took the word best, and then you tried to put it on the front of every other keyword. And then you found some keywords with the word top in front of it. And so you took top and you tried to put it in front of every other keyword. So you may actually start out with, through Google Keyword Tool research and SpyFu, you might find 100 keywords or 200 keywords. But once you start adding what I call, basically what it is permutations of all your keywords, where you mix and match all the individual words in there. You find one keyword with the word firm at the end, and then so therefore you try to add firm on the end of all the keywords. When you do that, you can use something called a permutation generator that you can find online. You'll end up with 5,000 keywords, but those 5,000 keywords, they're all not searched that much. You certainly can't bid on all of them because of this low search volume keyword warning you're going to get when you try to bid on all 5,000 ways of somebody that looks for an actual lawn care service. So then what I do, what I recommend you do here, what I say to do on this channel, is to go to set up a test campaign on your Google account. Throw in all 5,000 combinations you found after running all your different permutations of your keyword ideas. And then of the 5,000, you'll find like 600 of the 5,000. Google, after you start running the campaign, it only takes running the campaign for like 24 hours, where most of it will happen right away, but some of it takes a little bit more time. So I recommend running it for a full day. Of the keywords that don't get searched very much, you'll get low search volume warning on it, and then some of them you won't. And you'll find out the 600 of all of the variations of all your permutations there that won't get the warning. And then once you have that, now you know which you've got the maximum amount of keywords you can possibly run in your market versus hoping you found them all. You literally found them all, because this is the process to literally find every keyword you can. The reason why you want to find every keyword you can and not be the guy who just bids on 10 keywords and you get all 600 possible variations of somebody looking for a lawn care service is because you can do something called a SKEG keyword campaign method, where you take every single keyword, you put it in an ad group all by itself, and then with that you make a custom ad for that ad group each time. So if they're looking for lawn care service, you can make an ad that says lawn care service. If they're typing in lawn care companies, you can put that keyword in an ad group by itself and make an ad that says lawn care company, or whatever. So that when somebody searches for lawn care company, your ad says lawn care company, not lawn care service. And that sounds like ridiculously stupid that you'd waste your time with this, but because everybody else is thinking that, and I'm doing this for clients, which I get paid if I can increase the client's results like double up front. I can charge and get paid really well. I'll come in and say, hey, to a client, hey, I'll double your leads coming in for your lawn care service. All I want is XYZ dollars after I'm done. And they say, sure. And then all I have to do is go in and just do the exact process that I'm telling you here, making custom ads for every keyword, finding every possible variant keyword there is so that every ad can be customized to every type of search there is. And then when somebody searches, again, anytime in the future when somebody searches for that person's stuff in the future, I've got the top most relevant ad out of the 4 ads at the top of Google. So my ad gets clicked by default more than anybody else's, which means I get preferred to be shown by Google more than anybody else, because Google has an ad algorithm that's constantly trying to find, of the 10 people cycled in and out of those top 4 spots, which ad should be shown, because they're trying to find the ad that's got the highest click-through rate. And of course they're looking at, when they get to your landing page, whose ad sends people to a page that gets what they want and don't come back to Google to have to click on something else. But my ad gets clicked on more than anybody else's, which that's half of what they decide that determines if you're going to get shown a lot or a little in your market. And also what they charge you per click is also determined on these 2 things. Half of the equation that determines how much money I'm going to make, both in terms of top line revenue and ROI, because my clicks are cheaper, I got nailed right from the start, because I've actually took the time to write a custom ad for every keyword, like through that process that I talked about, and make sure we got every variant of keyword individually targeted, and without having to do anything that's groundbreaking. That system right there that I told you, I use on every single campaign we work on, and we can routinely double the click-through rates on our ad by doing that one thing, if not a little bit more. Sometimes it's up to triple. And if you can double your click-through rate, your cost per click will go almost in half. You'll end up getting about 3 times as many clicks, because more people are clicking through your ad. Then on top of it, Google starts preferring to show you more, because it's not like a yellow page ad where you're either there or you're not. Google's algorithms constantly determine if it's going to be your ad or somebody else's ad shown, and how high up it's shown. And it's, again, determined on click-through rate of the ad and conversion rate on your landing page, wherever you're sending people to. So anyway, if you just go ahead and do this stuff that I'm talking about anyway, you would have no additional benefit to going through and trying to find the searches that say, okay, Google at the beginning, because you already got it all. Again, if you're not, you shouldn't just be optimizing for Google searches. You should be doing that full thing I just told you. That's my main point that I wanted to get across to you guys in this video today. So now that's paid, okay? On the organic side, however, this is actually the perfect strategy, what these other people are advising, looking through your search terms report and getting more clicks, as there's no obviously limitation as to what size of queries people type in that you can optimize for. So, and a good example of this is what we do on this exact YouTube channel. If you click and view the description on this video, you'll see under keywords the different keywords that I'm targeting. I don't target, for instance on this video, voice search optimization. I target stuff like how to optimize for voice search. Is optimizing for voice search worth it? Pros and cons of optimizing for voice search. I target these so-called long tail phrases there in the description because I don't have a huge channel. I don't have 100,000 subscribers. So I know I can't rank for voice search strategy, at least very easily. I probably could for something like that, but for the most part, if there's a lot of competition for that term, I just won't put that in my list of keywords I'm targeting. It's much better to find terms that are still useful and that will get you the right kind of traffic, but you could rank first for. And then, that can change with time, but that gives you an example of how you should be doing your keyword research for your organic to make more money. But that's not the only thing you do, and it, depending on your situation, it varies. But as it comes to this voice search itself, you can optimize for voice search through your organic. You have to put more of these phrase-based or question-based keywords on your site so you can optimize for these voice searches. And if you go through your search terms report, if you're running ads already, you can find the ones that say OK Google, and then if you see that's coming up a lot, you can add that to your site, and then now you've optimized for voice search, okay? Because basically, and then with that, there's creative ways where there's basically no limit to how many of these different phrases that people use that they say to do through voice search that you can optimize for on your site if you, like I said, get creative in how you're putting it on your site. And technically this is called keyword stuffing, but at the same time, how else are you supposed to optimize for voice search if you can't tell Google what your stuff should show up for? I mean, technically Google is supposed to, they want to kind of figure it out on their own, but at the same time, there's no reason why you can't go to your search terms report if you're running ads, find the top 100 most frequently voice searched terms that had OK Google in front of it, and get all 100 of those terms on your site so you can start showing up ahead of your competition, because your competition's not going to have those terms on your site. So you start showing up, which is half of the value kind of running Google ads. I've mentioned many times on this channel how when you run Google ads, particularly at the beginning, most of your value is just getting data that will tell you what doesn't work, so you can get rid of that stuff so that you can do the stuff that works eventually and get the real ROI that you're looking for. So expecting to turn on ads and then like it's a light switch and then it works right away is dumb. Running the ads for 6 months to find out how to figure out what 10% of what you did worked and got you the ROI that you would want is what you're doing it for. And then in addition to that, as you're going to the organic ranking that you want, you're going to get more organic ranking because when you spend more on Google ads, you'll rank higher, particularly as you get over 10K a month. So if you can just figure out how to break even on your ads and spend 10K a month, your organic will start coming through heavy. I've seen this. That's kind of like the barrier threshold that I've seen it the most. But even if you spend $3,000 a month, your organic's going to go up a lot, assuming all the fundamentals are good, such as you have a good, low bounce rates on your site and stuff to go along with it. The rest of your site, that you don't promote through Google Ads. Forgot exactly where it was here. So essentially, you put all those terms on your site. Oh, sorry, I remember where I left off here. So you're paying money to Google Ads to find out not only how to get your ads to work, but you can use it to get the information about what people are searching for, including these voice searches, so you know how to get more organic traffic from Google, not just from like physically spending money on the ads and Google giving you better placement because of that, but also because you figured out what on-site SEO you needed to do to get and have an edge in the organic side, because a lot of your competition's not going to do what I'm telling you here. They're not going to look at their search terms report and use that to identify what on-site SEO they need to do. They'll just go to the Google keyword tool, look what keywords are there, and then try to optimize for those based upon the searches, when really, when you don't spend much on Google ads, the Google keyword tool search volume estimates are way off. That's done on purpose. But not only that, they don't give you long tail keywords that you could easily rank for, because nobody else has these long tail keywords on their site, particularly the really long ones, like what's the closest 5-star restaurant near me, that if you just had that baby on your site, you'd rank for it right away. As soon as that crawler gets to your site, sees it, and it's going to try to rank for you. Of course, the whole thing about putting keywords on your site and this so-called keyword stuffing, if you put keywords on your site that when you rank, you're not legitimately the best thing that consumer would want to see and should see, you're doing it wrong. And you shouldn't be doing it that way. You shouldn't be tricking people to see shit they don't want to see. But if you're the one person who has what's the closest 5-star restaurant near me on your site, and if people see it, they were happy they found your result, that's just helping everybody. And so, of course, and in that type of situation, Google is going to use, geographic, locations to know where they're at and where you're at, and they're going to match you up. So, in other words, if you're a 4-star restaurant, don't put 5-star restaurant near me as a keyword on your site, because that is, where you're crossing the line where this keyword stuffing thing. I know it's not exactly what other people call keyword stuffing, but for all practical purposes, just don't do stuff that provides where you aren't the best option, if you will. If you stick to what you really will help the user, for the most part, you're not going to get penalized or anything like that. I've seen people do this on the organic side. It's what works, and you shouldn't worry about the risks, so to say. I mean, of course, there's limits to it. You can't put 10,000 keywords on your site like that. That might be a little excessive, but for the most part, if you're just doing a few hundred, 1,000 keywords like this on your site, optimizing for voice search, optimizing for other just long tail, searches, I haven't seen anybody actually run into trouble, but that's up to you to make that call. If you don't do it and you get no traffic, what do you have to lose anyway? So so there is no optimization for voice search really on Google ads if you're already doing Google ads right. At the same time, doing keyword optimization for your organic traffic, there is no optimizing for voice search. It's really just doing keyword research and optimizing for organic traffic. In that, like I said, if I'm going to try to optimize my site organically, I'm going to run a pay-per-click ad, whether I want to run pay-per-click ads or not, to find out what people are searching for, and then use that data to optimize my site. Both the voice searches that have OK Google in front of the search, as well as the ones that don't. So for that matter, even in that situation where I'm optimizing for organic traffic, there is no just optimizing for voice search. I'm going to try to optimize for everything. So there's no actual voice search optimization. So there's just good keyword strategy that you use in general to rank organically. Okay? For Google ads, I want to optimize for every possible search phrase there is, because there's no limit. There's no such thing as keyword stuffing as it comes to Google ads and running pay-per-click. So like I ran you through the process of that earlier, finding every possible permutation of all the keywords that you found, your seed keyword ideas, and getting every single term found, and creating a custom ad for every single term. To take that further, by the way, I'll get a custom landing page with that same keyword in the headline of the landing page, because I can also do that, and Google allows you to do it. So if they're searching for best lawn care Glendale, I'm going to have that in the ad. I'm going to have that in the headline of the landing page. And if you do that, you'll absolutely crush it in your market. A, your competition won't be doing it. B, this is exactly what the user wants to see. C, Google grades you based upon the user's reaction. So you're going to get shown more than anybody else. You're going to pay less than anybody else. You're going to get the most customers. So if for my business, I'm 110% going to make sure that keyword's on the landing page, and therefore I'm going to have 1,000 landing pages that target each term individually. We do this all the time for clients. Anyway, that's PPC, because there's no limits as to how targeted we get in terms of how many terms we target and how many landing pages or whatever we can set up for that. We do it. For the organic side, technically Google does have a problem creating 1,000 landing pages to optimize organically or whatever. But what you can do, which is more appropriate, is you can actually take 1,000 keywords that you want to rank for and sprinkle them out over your, let's say 20 or 30 pages on your site, so there's 50 on each page. And that actually still works practically just as good anyway. And so what I'll do for the organic side, it depends on the size of my company and where I'm at organically, and also in the eyes of Google in terms of my brand authority and so forth. I'll want to start with as long tail keywords as we can if I'm not already an authority in my space. And what Google judges, how they judge you as an authority comes down to a couple main things. How many people are searching for your brand name in Google on a monthly basis? That's a clear way that Google knows if you're an authority or not. In addition to that, how many people do they see going to your location if you have a location that people can go to? Because they look at GPS data, and when people have the Google apps installed on people's phones, so they can track people that way. They also can obviously look at your reviews, but that would be a minor secondary thing to the first two things I said. So if you're just starting out, because there's a lot of competition, I'm not going after the main keywords because it's too hard to compete against other people, knowing that the Google ranking algorithm is too heavily skewed on who is a bigger, has the most authority in the Google's eyes. Google wants to send the traffic to the companies that seem the less likely to rip that customer off, if you will, or non-fly-by-night companies. Because if you look at it from Google's perspective, if you were Google, who are you going to send the traffic to? The person who just started their business up, or the person who's been in business for 15 years and has 300 great reviews? If you wanted the users to find something and get a good experience, because if they didn't get a good experience, then later on they might use Bing, or they may not come back to Google again and ask somebody else for a referral. You would give it to the sure person that has been in business, right? Except for the situations where somebody makes a long search and you're not quite sure who to show, and somebody's got that exact phrase on their site. In that situation, the authority is less important. More important is somebody who said that they offer that exact thing on your site. That's where long tail keywords research comes in handy. And so I'm going to, and the smaller I am, I'm going to be targeting more longer tail keywords exclusively. And so you could try to come up with all these variants of ways that people will search for you, like what's the closest 5-star restaurant near Joe's Tower, or whatever. And you could come up with that stuff and put it on your site. Or you could just take my advice, run a Google search campaign, whether you want to run those search ads or not, which, by the way, there's no reason why you can't get search ads to be profitable and pay for themselves in the first place. But if you were against it for whatever reason, you could run a search campaign for a month, get your search term data, and use that to know what keywords to optimize on your site, particularly as you'll get these long searches that are not targeted by anybody yet, or targeted by any of your competitors, and you can put those on your site. And then Google, because you're the only one with it on your site, will start to rank for those terms that nobody else pays attention to. You can use that to get to a little bit higher level of reputation, and then you can start going after a little bit harder keywords, and a little bit harder, and a little bit harder keywords, which the harder keywords have more traffic potential. So I will basically go, when I run that Google Ads campaign to get the search term data, I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to just kind of you could literally sort in a descending order by keywords that are the longest to the shortest, because the shortest ones are probably the most easiest to rank. And I'll try to rank, the terms that will start with if you find 5,000 ways that they've searched for you, I'll start with the 500 longest ones, and I'll sprinkle those out throughout my site so that Google can find those terms, and I start showing up for those longer searches. And while somebody may only make that type of search once or twice a month, when you have 500 of them, now you have a potential to show up 1,000 times a month. And then with the small trickle of traffic, if you have a good quality site, which when people get to the site, they call at a high rate, or at least higher rate than the other people that rank organically, Google will say, this new guy right here, their site's actually pretty good. Maybe we should start showing them for some other terms. And then that's how you build up from zero with minimal budget from a starting point to become the number one in your niche, if you will, at least from the organic side. Now the implementation of the keywords, that's the tricky part, because like I said, Google doesn't technically allow keyword stuffing. So you got to get kind of creative. On the PPC side, I would literally make a dedicated landing page for every keyword that I want to promote and get sales from, because Google allows it. On the organic side, I have a few different options here. One major option would be this used to be done a long time ago. It was very popular, but I haven't seen it much around anymore, and I don't know why. Keyword cloud. You can Google that, but basically it's just a spot on the page that has other keywords. People call keywords like that hashtags now, so you could just put hashtags there. But basically all those long tail searches, there's a designated part on the page. And keyword stuffing is more so trying to hide keywords on a page. So what Google doesn't like is when you do things like people used to do, which was very effective, still is effective technically, but they would commonly put all their keywords at the bottom of the page in the same color as the background, so you couldn't see the keywords and it wouldn't junk up the look of the page. But if you put the keywords on the page and there's like a keyword cloud there and you're not hiding anything, technically, as long as you don't do that to an extreme level, you're not even breaking the rules anymore. So that in itself is fine. That's specifically how I would be doing it with a reasonable amount of keywords. If you got 500 keywords to do, then what you do is you take those keywords and you spread them around all the pages on your site. All the pages at least that would have a page that would be good for the user. So if your keyword is that you're trying to rank for, what's the closest 5-star restaurant near me, don't put that on your About Us page, because when people get to that About Us page and then they don't see what they want right away, because it's not an ideal experience for somebody searching for that, they leave, go back to Google, they click on something else, Google's going to say, we ranked you for, we thought, ultimately, because you're the only one with this on your page, that this is what we should show people when they search for this. People aren't having a good experience on your page, so we're not going to rank you for that anymore. That's how the algorithm works now. There's no tricking Google. It only works to kind of juice the system if you legitimately have something that's as good or better than the people that already rank for those terms. And if you don't, just don't worry about it, because even if you rank, you'll get demoted eventually anyway. That's the general idea behind Google's rank brain system. And I know some people are going to say, I see other people ranking, their sites are shit. Fundamentally, still though, over time, if you get ranked, you have a shitty site, you're not going to stay ranked for very long. And at the very least, other terms, it's going to be harder and harder to rank. Versus, if you just do it the right way to begin with, once you start adding another keyword, Google will say, well, last time we tried to rank you for a keyword, Google users really got what they wanted. So we're going to be even more willing to show you right away for this next term. And you want to build up kind of a reputation with Google so that they just can rely. If you tell them that you should rank me for this, they want to rank you for this because everything you told them has been good so far. That's what you really want to shoot for versus trying to work against them. You could spread the keywords out, I gave you my example. Find the 500 longest, phrase keywords, sprinkle them out. You could sprinkle those out over other pages. If you didn't have enough pages to sprinkle them out over, the next best option is going to be to review your own product or service. So instead of doing what Google calls doorway pages, which you're not supposed to do, technically you're not supposed to do, where you would take a product page and then make 100 copies of it so you could target different terms. You could take your product and make another page, which looks like it's just it's basically another way to do a product page where it looks like you're just reviewing the product, like you're demoing the product or demoing the service, so to say. But for all practical purposes, you'd be able to convert a user just as good as the page that you had before, that you were sending traffic to before or wanted traffic to go to before. And then on that page, you can add another 20 or 30 keywords in the keyword cloud. And then you do it, like that 20 more times, so that you got 500 different keywords now that you can rank for pretty easily, because you created, kind of 20, basically slightly different ways of going over and reviewing your product or service. So you can have 500 keywords that you can rank for once it's all done. And so you put those 500 keywords on the site. Google indexes the pages for those keywords. You start getting traffic. You start getting a higher reputation with Google because as you get customers through this organic ranking, people start typing in your brand name more. Google picks that up. Then now you have the capability to rank for more than these long ass phrases like, what's the closest 5-star restaurant near me? Now you have the potential to just rank for closest 5-star restaurant near me, because instead of a 0 reputation with Google, you have a 10 out of 100. And then at that point, you go back to your search terms list that you got from your Google Ads campaign, and instead of getting the longest phrases, you get the second longest phrases. And then you go through that whole process all over again. Add all those second longest phrases to your site. If you don't have a page to put it on, create a page to put it on and add 20 or 30 terms in the keyword cloud. And then, as soon as you rank for those terms and you start getting more customers from that, you go to the third most longest terms until you've got all the way down to the hardest terms, which are going to really bring in a massive amount of traffic and a massive amount of money. But that's how you start from 0. If you just try to go after the hardest terms, it's going to be a waste of time and money. You're not going to rank for them. But you can get the terms nobody's focusing on, rank for them, and rank for them because nobody's focusing on them at all, because they're not worth the big guy's time, and then use that to get to where you can be in position to rank a little bit harder terms. And then you just go up the ladder like that. So essentially, and then the other thing is, on the search terms report that you download from Google, running a trial campaign to get this data on which of these longer tail phrases that people ultimately search for, and the voice searches going along with that, going back to the topic of this video, you will also find in there, if you hook up conversion tracking, these long tail phrases that not really easy, but not the hardest ones, so to say, as you get into this. And you'll say, oh, wow, people that typed in Italian 5-star restaurant actually, or better example, we'll give you, when somebody typed in best 5-star restaurants Glendale, they actually converted really, really well. Way above average, to the point where 30% of those people who typed that in actually turned into a customer, or basically they called itself. If you were looking for calls, you could hook up call tracking to your campaign before you run your Google Ads campaign to get your keyword data, and I call them just diamonds in the rough. There's certain search terms in your search terms list that will have way above average conversion rates to a lead itself. So not only does Google, obviously be able to, Google will be able to show you how many times people searched for certain phrases, but how well it converted into a lead. And what you'll find in there is stuff that nobody's optimizing for, and when you get a click from that, it converts into a customer or a lead at some extremely high rate. So you basically don't have to just go after, I gave you the basic strategy here, where you go after the longest phrases first, get those, go to the second longest phrases. You could, as a secondary option, which is more realistic for something where I would do this for myself, I would pick the longest phrases I could that I think I could rank for at the time, but also have super high conversion rates. Or if we're doing e-commerce, super high revenue per click is what that would be. And go after and try to rank those terms first. So running the Google Ads campaign tells you, what long tail searches you can find that you couldn't find by using the Google keyword tool or SpyFood to rank. And because you got to spend money with Google Ads to even know those keywords, or to optimize for those keywords, you're going to be the only one optimizing for them. But on top of that, Google will directly tell you which keywords are super, super profitable per visit or per click, and which also people, because they're longer tail phrases, people won't know that you should actually, they're existing basically. I apologize for the dog there. To even know to optimize for them, so you find keywords that not only are easy to rank for because nobody's optimizing for them, but they're more profitable than most other keywords that you could possibly optimize for when you're talking on a per click or individual click by click basis. So respectively, I do this all the time at our firm, by the way. We run a PPC firm here. I tell my clients, if you're hiring an SEO team, don't just try to rank whatever the SEO company tells you to rank for. I'll give you a list of every single search phrase that got multiple sales in the last year. And then from there, I'll sort it descending by the highest conversion rate from click to sale. And you can optimize these first. And of those terms, quite a few of them get searched a reasonable amount of times. But more importantly, sell like crazy. Or the type of traffic that searches for those things, buy at an incredible rate. So why spend all this money to rank for terms that are probably hard to rank for and that everybody else is trying to rank for, when you could try to rank the terms that nobody else is trying to rank for, and which are more profitable than average, because we have that free data to work with already. You're already paying for the ads. The data's free. Why aren't you using this data? So that's the type of thing I'm talking about here. As it comes to the organic side, how I'm going to be doing keyword research and trying to take advantage of that. Or if I'm running ads, how to take advantage of that for your organic side. But so as far as the voice searches go, you certainly could take your search terms data to get voice data and then use that to put those terms on your site and then rank for those terms. So, but while you're doing it, you're going to obviously might as well just try to rank for other non-voice terms if those terms are more profitable than the voice terms overall, as you can see through the search term data, how many people are searching for them and how many people buy per click. So that's how I would optimize for, and where and how I would basically optimize for voice search on the organic side. So from the PPC side, if you're doing PPC the way that I do it and the way that you should do it, voice search is already baked in. On the organic side, if you're doing things like you should be doing it, voice search is already baked in. You may not even, because you only can put so many keywords on your site without, kind of seemingly cross the line of doing this really egregious keyword stuffing on your site. You may just skip over the voice searches and instead decide to target, these diamond in the rough keywords that have a high conversion rate into a sale when you get a click from that type of people searching for those type of keywords instead. So anyway, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you got some good value out of this video. Promise you this stuff works. This is stuff I'm doing for our company. I've done for e-commerce brands that I've ran before. Stuff you should be doing for yourself as well. And with that said, if you have any questions about any of the stuff that I talked about, you wanted any part of this wanted me to go into detail on any individual part, leave a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment. Usually within a couple days on this channel, I'll get back to you if you leave a comment. So beyond that, if you like the video, for the algorithm, I would appreciate it if you give it a like. And beyond that as well, if you would consider subscribing, I have a ton of more content that I'm going to be releasing on this channel, where I actually run a PPC firm here. We manage a few dozen accounts at any one time. We're constantly testing things as it comes to Google ads that we help run for clients, Facebook campaigns that we run for clients, and we give you the working strategies here on a silver platter for you to use. It's the most actionable advice you're going to find on YouTube. If you want to learn how to be able to be very profitable and make millions of dollars at PPC, this is the information that you basically only need to put together those kind of campaigns for your brand. So for that, because you're not going to find any other better information here, and it's all coming from somebody who's actively in the field doing it, you should subscribe. And we also share, of course, the stuff that doesn't work and stuff to stay away from. And that was kind of what this is about. Don't worry about voice search for the most part. Just do the the PPC the right way, and you've already got your bases covered anyway. So consider subscribing. I have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog, where we give you more in-depth tutorials of how to set up PPC campaigns that frankly are what we use for our clients to guarantee their results, because that's what we do at our firm anyway. So if you're looking for more detailed advice on how to set up profitable PPC campaigns, you can go and find my articles there that I've written for our company there. And with that, you'll get a great supplemental set of information that goes great with the information I give you on this channel, which is more high-level stuff about what concepts and strategies out there generally work. So if you want to see more detailed stuff, you can find my stuff there. And as a final note, I wanted to also mention, as I've been mentioning on the last few videos that I've made, that we have a brand new program out at our PPC firm where we're offering, literally speaking, the turnkey PPC campaigns that get millions of dollars in sales and profit for certain markets that we operate in and have operated in the past. And you can use the campaign templates and landing page templates we use to get those literal same results for your own company or a company you would want to start up, to the point where, ultimately speaking, if you wanted to start a company up in a brand new local service territory or area, such as lawn care, you could take our lawn care campaign that we've been running for the last 5 years for a client in Los Angeles. You wanted to start up a lawn care business in Dallas, Texas. You could just simply use our campaign from LA and Dallas and know pretty much what results you would get before you start, because we could give you that estimate of what results you could get before you start, because we already ran the campaign there. And so it's a different way to do PPC. So if you don't want to do PPC yourself, but you don't want to hire a fully, a PPC management company to fully manage your campaign, you could just go in the middle and just get the campaign templates that we have that already work and use those. Basically what you're able to do is copy and paste the results directly into your account. So, a lot of people, the reason why we started this program officially was because a lot of people would come in, they're in a market that's not ideal. With their skill sets, they'd be much better off starting a similar business in a similar field and just use one of the campaign templates we have that gets millions of dollars in sales already profitably with good margins in another similar market. And, comparatively speaking, the time and effort it took to get to millions of dollars of sales profitably was, way less if you just used the exact results we were getting for that market for your own geographic market. And of course, since you're in a different market than the client or past client that we have, there's no conflict of interest. We've got the same thing going with product campaigns, such as selling printer toner, where we've had results in one geographic market, which you could get similar results in another geographic market if you wanted to start a business like that. But we may also have results in your market. So the only way to know is just to contact us. We've worked in hundreds of markets now. So the chances are high we've worked in your market if you're in a relatively common market. And if not, if you're looking to start, make money, you could literally have a business in a box ready for you to go, ready for you to make money, straight out the gate by taking one of our campaigns, setting it up like we've had people do in their market, set up a site, set up a foundation repair company site, find a partner to outsource all the work to in your area, mark the prices up 5 or 10%, and you've got a business where you basically almost have passive income. The campaign does what it does. It generates great results like we've already gotten in this market. You knew what to expect going in because we already got those results in another market. you keep 5 or 10% for yourself, and you've got a business that's already, it's close to, like starting up a franchise, but with way less money than you could possibly get. So anyway, if you're interested in that type of thing, reach out to our firm. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in my next video where we have another fantastic money-making PPC strategy for you to be able to review and use at your disposal. So, see you there.